Prepare yourself for the terror. The prison of madness, where few enter and none return.
Welcome to Unsung Horrors with Lance and Erica.
Leave all your sanity behind. It can't help you now.
Welcome to Unsung Horrors, the podcast where we review underseen horror movies, specifically those with fewer than 1,000 views on Letterboxd. I'm Lance.
And I'm Erica.
And Erica, do we have somebody who left us a review?
Yeah, Robert Prudham, he left us a 5-star review on Apple. So just quick thank you to Robert. I know you don't even listen on Apple because I see you share on Twitter that you are listening on CastBox. So thank you, Robert, for the 5-star review.
Yes, thanks, Robert. And so we're back with No Rules November.
Got to say it the right way, Lance.
No Rules November.
Thank you.
So we're ignoring the fewer than 1,000 views rule this month, and it's my pick. And for this episode, we'll be discussing the 1981 American slasher Madman.
Many strange things happen around here. He was a farmer, wife and 2 children. We used to live in that old house behind those trees. For no apparent reason, we'd stark, raving mad. He walked into his bedroom. The bodies of his wife and children have never been found. And if he hears you call his name, he'll come for you.
Come and get us, Madman!
Madman Ma.
Surprised you didn't sing it. Or you're going to sing. This whole episode is going to be Lance singing.
No, I don't. We'll
or
see.
grunting. Singing and grunting.
That's my Madman.
That's actually really spot on impression.
Well, I've been watching a lot of the commentary, and Paul Ehlers, who plays Madman, he's always on when he's doing his Madman.
That's cute.
He's very excited that he played this part, so that's pretty much how his whole interviews go. But yeah, so Madman, this movie's definitely established a following the last few years.
Mm-hmm.
I first saw it at Terror Tuesday that Joe Ziemba from Bleeding Skull and AGFA programmed, 35 millimeter screening. But I saw this back in 2013, and I fell in love with it the first time I saw it. I love it every time I rewatch it. So, and along with like loving this movie so much, I feel like the pick works well with this time of year because, well, a few things. One I'll point out in a bit when we get a little further down. But the first is that Madman takes place the week before Thanksgiving. So it's November slasher.
Yeah. That's the exact week that this is coming out too. It's the week
That's
before
right, it's coming
Thanksgiving.
out. Yeah. So yeah, so it's established a pretty big following the last couple of years. It was featured on The Last Drive-In with Joe Bob Briggs on Shudder, and he did a pretty impressive cover. Did you watch that?
I had Shudder. This is back in the day when I had streaming services.
Nice.
Well, I didn't have them. My ex-husband paid for them. That's why I had them. But I remember watching it, and I think they sang the song at the end.
They did. Joe Bob was a little monotone, but then they got, I guess there's a guitar player, like a musical director on the show, and he started doing like a little a cappella type high pitch singing. But Madman's no longer on Shudder, but you can watch the Joe Bob segments just by themselves.
Sure.
So if you have Shudder, I recommend it. It's worth checking out. Madman is streaming on Tubi right now. And we've already mentioned there's the Vinegar Syndrome release, which That was my first Vinegar Syndrome Blu-ray pickup. I picked that up, and I picked up Melvin Van Peebles' Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song.
R.I.P.
R.I.P. Yeah, recently. Okay, so what's Madman about? So I'd imagine most folks listening, they've seen it before, but if not, or if you have, here's a quick synopsis. Many years ago. No, I'm not going to do it like a campfire tale.
Aw.
Okay, so many years ago, a farmer called Madman Mars violently murdered his wife and 2 kids and was caught by an angry mob and hanged. Hanged? Hanged. So legend has it that anyone who calls his name above a whisper will summon him back to continue his killing spree. And a group of kids and camp counselors are camping in the same woods where Mars killed his family and where he was hanged. And while Max, the head camp counselor, tells the story of Madman around a campfire, one of the asshole kids, Richie, who thinks the legend is bogus, yells Madman Mars's name and throws a rock, which happens to break the window of the house that Mars killed his family in. Probably a bad spot to have a little campfire, but
yeah,
it works in the movie. And as the kids head back to their cabins, Madman Mars is summoned, and with axe in hand, he begins his killing spree, weirdly grunting and hopping to each of his stupid victims. So Madman was directed by Joe Giannone, and this is Giannone's only directing credit. He does have a few assistant director credits to his name, including Parts the Clonus Horror from 1979. It's a horror sci-fi about politicians cloning themselves. Yeah, seems interesting. That's on Tubi, so add it to your watch list. He also co-directed an episode from the 1984 PBS anthology series American Playhouse, which aired for 13 seasons. I wasn't aware of the show, but he has an episode called Night Songs, and those are his only credits that I could find. Giannone passed away in 2006 at the age of 60, so he never really saw the popularity and attention that Madman has started to receive, within the last 10 years at least.
Mm-hmm.
It did fairly well when it was released, though. At one point, it was playing in 73 theaters in the New York area when it first came out.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty impressive. But, he wasn't able to witness the new audience that it has, so that kind of sucks. But the other reason why Madman's a good pick for this episode is because Giannone was born on November 17th, which is the day this is dropping.
Yeah.
So happy birthday, however your spirit may be celebrating, Joe.
It's going to show up in a ghost Polaroid.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I'm kidding.
It's going to be the lyrics to Madman and ghostwriting. Okay, so Giannone also wrote the screenplay with producer Gary Sales, and Madman is the only writing credit for both Giannone and Sales. But Gary Sales has been involved in producing and filmmaking since Madman, which was his first feature film. He's produced a lot of documentaries and shorts, but he has a lot of assistant director credits as well to his name. I know he kind of did some directing in Madman, but he doesn't have a credit. But he does have credits for Vampire's Kiss from 1988
Oh, okay.
and Mr. Nanny with the horrible Hulk Hogan from 1993.
I was like, don't you mean Mr. Mom? And I'm like, oh, no.
Mr. Nanny.
Wow. Yikes.
James Lameau is the cinematographer, and the films he's photographed include some of my personal favorites.
He's got a lot of credits.
Yeah, so I never recognized his name. That's one thing I love about doing, these episodes is, coming across a crew member that, you've seen so many of their movies and you just love. So the name's going to stick with me now. Yeah. James Lameau. His first feature was Ferrara's Ms. 45.
Fuck yeah.
Which is... that was one of my picks that was on my short list. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not sorry. I didn't mean it to sound like, God damn it, why are we doing this movie?
Madman is so stupid. I wanted to talk about it. But then Lameau did Madman, and then he did a bunch of Bill Lustig's films, including Vigilante with Robert Forster and Fred Williamson. 5-star movie, in my opinion. So good. He did Maniac Cop 2, and Hit List with Lance Henriksen playing that badass.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a fun movie as well. And he also filmed One Down, Two to Go, which was directed and starred Fred Williamson and that's on Tubi.
Yeah, I've been meaning to. I think I started watching that. I need to finish it.
It's one of my favorite. It's a Po' Boy production, which was Fred Williamson's production company. But it stars Jim Brown, Jim Kelly, Richard Roundtree, and Joe Spinell's in it.
Fuck yeah.
That's on Tubi. Yeah, definitely watch that. And Lameau did some other Ferrara films, Fear City in 1984.
Oh, I've seen that.
And The Gladiator, which I saw you had logged on Letterboxd.
Oh, that's the one where
Robert Culp's in it, Nancy Allen. I think your
it was something like Go Back to New York.
Yeah,
Ferrara, you're drunk. Yeah, it was like an LA movie, and I was like, this is all kinds of wrong. And I think my review was Go Back to New York, Abel, you're drunk.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what it was. But yeah, it was cool seeing James Lameau, and that's a name I'm not going to forget. His work is just amazing, and in Madman, he loves the blue lighting.
Yeah,
everything is so blue.
It is very blue.
There's a lot of cool scenes of just kind of like the silhouette, and he's backlit with this blue lighting, like he's coming out of a spaceship.
Mm-hmm.
But good stuff. And then we have composer Stephen Horlick. He doesn't have any other film credits, but he did win a Grammy for writing the theme song to Reading Rainbow.
No
with
shit.
LeVar Burton. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And when I learned this, I did a quick search on his name and Reading Rainbow, and he was actually on the episode like in 1983 where he talked about electronic and synthesizers and music and stuff.
Uh-huh.
But he was the musical director for the show. But this is his only film credit, and I love the synth score. It was finally recently released just a few years ago, I think in 2019, by Mondo and Death Waltz Records. Mm-hmm. Awesome release.
Do you have it?
I do have it.
Nice. Great
art by Matt Ryan Tobin. I definitely recommend it. It has all the songs, all the original songs, and obviously all the synth scores. And I think it has like extras too that aren't even in the movie.
Oh, very cool.
And this is one of the earliest 80s synth scores in a horror movie. So Gary Sales, he brought it up in a commentary, like there wasn't a whole lot of electronic music happening in movies at this point. Obviously Halloween came out and that was huge. Carpenter's score is iconic. He pretty much hired Horlick because he was kind of pioneering this electronic synth score scene that was kind of, up and coming with movies. So yeah, I think it is one of the earliest because they started, this was filmed in late 1980. So I don't think there's a whole lot of horror movies out there with that.
Yeah.
I did notice there are some original songs. Producer Gary Sales wrote all the lyrics to those songs. So we'll talk a little bit about those a little later.
Okay.
And then the cast. So the cast they're not really working actors. They got a bunch of unknowns to play these parts. Some of them worked in theater and did some other productions, but I don't think you're going to recognize a lot of these names.
Except for Galen Ross.
Yeah, the most notable actor, Galen Ross, who plays Betsy, the final girl in Madman.
Well, is she though?
Well, she's the last.
Final, so yeah, that's true.
She's the last girl. We're going to spoil this movie, obviously.
Oh, sorry,
spoiler. She's the final girl because she technically, I guess she defeats Madman in a weird way.
Yeah, but don't you have to, by definition, shouldn't you survive?
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't know. I think you got to survive to be like the final girl.
Well, she's the final girl in the cast that is alive before the end. She's the final living girl. No, she's the final dead girl. Yeah, I don't know. This is getting confusing.
It is. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, Galen Ross, she played Francine in Romero's Dawn of the Dead. And she was also Becky Vickers, Leslie Nielsen's cheating wife in Creepshow from the Something to Tide You Over segment.
That's right.
Then we have Tony Fish. And Fish is not his real last name. His real last name was Nunziati, Tony Nunziati.
Why would you change your name from Nunziati to Fish?
Well, from what I had read, it's because he worked at like a fish shop, and apparently they just called him Fish.
Okay.
So I guess he used it. Maybe he didn't want to use his real name in the movie. Maybe he wasn't happy with it because. So he plays TP.
Well, so he's got a history of let me go by things that I shouldn't go by. I'm going to go by the last name Fish, and then I'm going to play a character that goes by TP. That's like Richards who go by Dick. What's wrong with you?
Well, TP, because I was wondering what does the TP stand for?
Yeah.
And I listened to some commentaries. I searched online, and the best I can find is that was the character's name, TP. They had no, like, it didn't mean like Tony
Palazzi or something.
I was going to say something like that. I was thinking something Italian, but yeah, they just called him TP. That's what Gary Sales and Joe Gianni said.
That's just unfortunate.
Yeah. We'll just call him toilet paper. But yeah, he was good friends with the director, Giannone, and Gary Sales. They all went to film school together. And it was known he could sing. So all of those original songs in Madman that you hear, that's Tony Fish. That's TP singing them all.
Oh, okay.
So he sings the Madman Mars theme, and then he sings the hot tub scene ballad. That song's called I Don't Need Words. So I was fascinated that this guy was a singer. So I did some Googling, and I couldn't find very much, but I found the timelines kind of matched up. But I think he recorded an album called Live for Today in 2008. So I'm going to look for that.
Okay.
But Tony Fish, Tony Nunziata, passed away in 2009. From the interviews with the cast and crew, he was like the sweetheart on set. Everybody loved him. It's unfortunate.
R.I.P. Tony Fish.
R.I.P. Tony Nunziati, TP, Tony Fish.
He's sleeping with the fishes. He's sleeping with his kind. He's sleeping with the fishes now.
See? Okay, so, and then we have, I'm just going to kind of run through the cast here. Carl Fredericks played Max. He's the old camp counselor guy. Mm-hmm. Tony Fish actually, he helped get Fredericks cast because they worked in the theater together for a while. So he pulled him in to read for the part. But this is extremely interesting. On the commentary track, it was mentioned that Giannone and Gary Sales wanted, or I guess they kind of fantasized about, getting Vincent Price to play Max, the camp counselor.
Really?
And they said his rates were obviously pretty high for 1980. They quoted saying it was about $12,000 for 3 days of shooting with Price. But I mean, can you imagine what kind of movie? It would have been a completely different movie if Vincent Price was the goofy old camp counselor,
right? Yeah,
who's in it just for the beginning, and then he pops back in at the end. So the first time I watched Madman, I just want to point this out right now, but that Max character, he confused me a bit because to me, he looked like Madman Mars.
Yeah.
And when I first saw it, he's the one who kind of tells the story, and he's very like relaxed when Richie throws a rock and starts kind of yelling Madman Mars. And he's like, "Oh, you did it now, Richie," you know, basically like you got it coming, kid. And he leaves before the murders start happening. Mm-hmm. So I was like, is he fucking Mars? But he's not. Spoiler alert. Paul Ehlers plays Madman Mars. He's Madman Mars. And he was actually hired on to do the poster art for the movie. But as they were developing the Madman Mars character, they knew they wanted somebody big, but who could move around a lot. And apparently Ehlers in real life practiced martial arts and was very active and physical. So he was cast as Madman, and he did all those grunts and moans. Those are all his, like I said earlier. And also his poster art wasn't used for the movie, but the Madman logo and those cartoony opening and closing credits, that's his work. Those are his graphics.
Oh, I like those.
Yeah. And like I said, he's really embraced playing Madman. Apparently he and his son, Jonathan, who was born in 1980 during the filming of Madman, they've written a remake for Madman.
Really?
Yeah, I think the interview that was on the disc is from like 2010, and they're like, "We're shopping it around. Feel good about seeing Madman again." And I'm like, I looked at my watch that I don't wear, and I'm like, I feel like it's not happening. Okay, and then we have Jan Claire, who plays Ellie. She's the young woman who famously hides in the refrigerator while she's running away from Mars.
Right, yeah.
She also was a last minute casting. She was kind of pushed into the role. She was helping the producers with casting, casting all the roles for everybody. But the actress who was playing Ellie, she bailed on the first day of shooting for a bigger audition, apparently. So Gary Sales approached one of their casting people, Jan Claire, and was like, "Are you want to play Ellie?" She's like, "Sure." So again, these aren't like practicing actors. Jimmy Steele plays Richie, the little asshole who yells out Madman Mars and leads to all his friends getting killed. Harriet Bass plays Stacy, and she's a character who randomly plays a recorder in the boat by herself at night. Mm-hmm. but more notably, she's decapitated by the hood of the truck.
Yeah. Seth
Jones plays Dave, that's the blonde-headed guy, and then Alexander Murphy Jr. plays Billy, and that's the guy with the mustache. So that's the cast and crew of Madman.
We'll get into more of this film right after this promo from our network.
You're listening to the Prescribed Films Podcast Network, home to hundreds of hours of free podcast entertainment. The shows on this network all have a common goal, providing you with the best discussions about movies and other forms of entertainment media. The PFPN hopes to fill your earholes with audio joy. Visit our website with links to all the other amazing shows at www.thepfpn.com. Thanks for listening.
All right. So I love this movie. I've already kind of gushed over it in the beginning and even in past the episode we did for Who Could Kill a Child. I love the setup. I love the campfire setup and the 10 minutes spent singing and telling the Madman Mars story.
Mm-hmm.
I think campfire, I mean, obviously like slashers in the woods are a common horror thing, but I love the way this is set up as some sort of myth, like some legend. What do you think about that? Like,
I like Madman. I like it a lot. It's one of those things where it's like it's a comfort horror movie. It's a slasher. You know exactly what you're going to get. It's just like, okay, I can just sit down and watch this, and I'm guaranteed to have a good time. I mean, there's some inept slashers out there for sure, but like if I'm going to watch a Friday the 13th movie, I'm going to be like, okay, that's fine. I know what I'm going to get. I don't think it's as good as The Burning. I think Burning is like God tier slasher horror movie. That's just, I think when someone asks me what's your favorite Friday the 13th movie, I'm like The Burning. So
yeah,
but I mean, that being said, it's odd to me that you do have, I mean, I guess kind of Friday the 13th kind of like set a lot of this camping horror in motion, but it spawned so many fucking sequels. But then you have stuff like Madman, who you could very easily have had a sequel.
Right.
Burning could have had, well, if they can always come back. I mean, it's odd to me. Like, I think it's something where, and I'm not generally a fan of like, a series that go on longer than they should. But right. I'm like, oh, fucking Friday the 13th has like 20 movies now, and there's one Madman, and it's so silly to me. It's like everyone's just sort of latched on to that one.
Yeah, and I think
series.
It's a lot to do with the studio and the distribution, sure. Because I mean, it's funny that you bring up The Burning. Like, do you know about the
Cropsey?
Yeah, the Cropsey legend.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what Madman was written about, was the Cropsey legend.
Yeah.
That was the story behind it. As they were filming it, and they were casting people, reading for the roles, a lady came in who was reading for the role, and she said, I basically read these lines for another movie a couple of weeks ago, and they're like filming right now. And they found out it was The Burning. They got a hold of the script.
Yeah.
They found out, it was The Burning. The script was obviously written by fucking shitbag Harvey Weinstein.
I know, but...
Well, the story was.
I know.
But so they had to change. They rewrote the Madman script like that following weekend. And then like a few weeks later, that's when they started filming. So no storyboarding was for Madman. But yeah, the whole idea for Madman for Gary Sales and Joe Giannone was out of film school. They wanted to latch on and hopefully make something that would make them a lot of money, like all first time filmmakers do.
Yeah, and
they knew it would have to be either porn, action, or horror, is what they said.
Why can't you have all three?
Well, yeah,
I mean, one.
I would say Madman has a little bit of all. And yeah, and with the success of Halloween and then Friday the 13th being like the first like low budget horror that was picked up by a huge distributor, and the studios were like in this buying frenzy for these type of movies, they quickly wrote Madman and they spent eight months looking for an investor when they finally, came across a guy who gave them $350,000. So that's when they made this movie. But yeah, like I said, it was based on the Cropsey legend, which is about like mysterious child murders. Mm-hmm. that was happening around Staten Island. And the killer was apparently an escaped mental patient that they called Cropsey.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It does. I mean, that's The Burning. The Burning's good.
Okay. We're not going to fight about Madman versus Burning. But no, I don't want it to sound like I'm like, about this movie. I do. I think everything, this is something I can put on and I know I'm going to enjoy it. Like there's so much to it's got great gore. Everyone is stupid in it. And I like that.
The characters are my favorite part. They're so fucking stupid. I mean, this thing, I think it does a great job with the character development. That's why I like that campfire scene so much, is because, you know, it sets up the legend. You know exactly who Madman Mars is within, you know, the first couple of minutes. And you kind of get a feel, well, you visually see all the characters and you see the foreshadowing too of them in trouble later on in the movie, which is kind of cool. I think the characters, they all have their own personalities that they just stick to their guns. Because another thing that I read is this was all on one set. They found one location and they shot for weeks at this one set I think it was called the Fish Cove Inn. Yeah, the Fish Cove Inn in North Sea, Long Island. And so it had this huge main house and a bunch of cabins. And it was, you know, over an hour away from the city. So all the cast and crew, they actually lived there. So I think as horrible, you know, as bad acting as they present in this movie, I can see like the camaraderie there.
Oh yeah, I mean they're clearly like they had fun, you know, making this. And yeah, I agree. I think each one is dumb in their own special way. Like they are, you can distinguish them, so you know like who's dying when. So it's not like, wait, who just died? Who were they? Like
right.
You know who everyone is. So you know it follows all the beats. It's just. It's a warm blanket horror movie and that's why it's perfect for fall. Cause you just you put on Madman, you sit there and you watch it and you got a nice little warm horror movie blanket. You're like, I know exactly what I'm getting out of this and I'm happy.
Do you have a favorite character?
What's the horny one's name? Why did I forget it? I wrote it.
The girl? Or the guy?
the girl. Sorry. I should have distinguished that. Everyone's horny in this movie, but no, the horny girl, the brown haired,
the one that hides in the fridge? Because she's pretty damn horny. Stacy? The one with the recorder?
Yeah, recorder.
And gets in the truck?
Yeah. I like her. She's sassy. But, I guess no one's... I guess they're all likable. They're just all so dumb. It's like
they are so dumb.
I'm not really rooting for anyone either. I'm just like, you're all so dumb. You're all just going to die. This is what's so fun about it. I guess Betsy, because, but I think that's a carryover from my love of Dawn of the Dead.
Right.
I don't think that's fair to everybody else, where I'm just like...
Right, she's recognizable.
Like, go Francine.
So I have a hard time picking because I like them all. Not just because they are so stupid, but I have to go with... my favorite character is Ellie, the girl who hides in the refrigerator. So the first time I watched this, it reminded me... I don't know, I was really big, still am, but really big into Twin Peaks. So these characters and the characters in Twin Peaks, they have such odd reactions, odd behavior, odd lines. The way they just talk doesn't make sense. And there's one scene in Madman where it's her and she's talking to her boyfriend, Billy. It's like before they get in the tent, I think, and start going at it. And she looks up at the sky and she says, "Great moon tonight. Hey, Billy boy." And it's like slow motion and she smiles real slow and she's everything about it just reminds me like these camp counselors and these kids came from Twin Peaks to go camp in the woods in the middle of November when it's cold and uncomfortable. Yeah, no, I loved I love all the characters. Like you said, Betsy is great. TP is amazing. I need to get that belt buckle first of all. TP has the kills, and you already said the gore's been great.
Yeah.
The gore's great in Madman, but TP has the best kill, I think, in this. Mainly because of the way he acts. It looks real.
Yeah.
And I read that the actor, Tony Fish, he actually put rubber bands around his neck to make himself that purple. Yeah.
Wow.
There's a scene where I think it's the blonde-headed guy. Is his name Paul? Well, the blonde guy kind of cuts, he's searching for Tony and Richie. We're searching for TP and Richie, and he comes across TP's hanging body,
right.
And the body falls, and it hits the ground, and his face is completely purple, and his eyes are rolled back. that's when he had like rubber bands tied around his neck to cut off circulation.
Wow. Okay.
And when he's being hung too, it's
hanged.
When he's being hanged, I don't think the distinction's very important.
It is.
Okay.
People are hanged. Curtains are hung.
Okay. Okay.
Go.
When he's hanged, he's like gagging really bad, and he even improvised a scene he improvised some of the dialogue. There's a scene where he kind of yells out to his mom. He's like, that's just something I always imagine, you know, men doing, or just people doing when they know they're going to die. I don't know. That scene just really freaks me out. I think it's handled really well. And then when it breaks his neck, you know, he holds himself up on the branch, and, you know, he's catching his breath as this rope's tied around his neck. And then Madman walks over and snaps his neck.
Yeah.
They used real sound effects. They went to a butcher. I think it was on 9th Avenue, they said, in New York City. Mm-hmm. They went to a butcher shop and recorded just them snapping animal bones. And that was like the spinal cord, like the spine of an animal.
Oh, God.
Like all those were like real sound effects that they were talking about. And they would use like with the axe going into, you know, I think it was Ellie who got axed at the end. That's watermelon. They would just.
Message for everyone who makes a horror movie: use fruit. That's what Psycho taught us. Madman did it. I think I agree. I think TP's death is probably the best one. I guess I gravitate towards Betsy's just because of, again, it's going back to some of my other favorite movies. So I've got Francine, and then she's getting meat hooked, and I'm like, it's like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So there's a part of me that clings to that one, but I know that TP's is a better one. But it's like when we talk, what's the best horror movie? What's your favorite horror movie? TP's is the best one, but Francine, Betsy's. I'm going to keep calling her Francine. Betsy's is my favorite.
I love Betsy's too. It's because she gets a meat hook like through her chest, out of the back through her chest, and she's still putting up a fight.
Oh fuck,
she's tough as fuck, and she stabs Madman, which causes him to react and then tip over like one of his candles, and it burns down his house. But yeah, some of the other kills I want to get into. So in the very beginning, as Max is telling the story of Madman Maz, they do a flashback of him killing his family.
Added to the kill count for kids.
Okay, yeah, there's dead kids. I mean, axe to the head of his children, kills his wife, kills both kids, and then he's hanged. So those scenes, I mean, within the first 2 minutes, you get some pretty graphic, a lot of blood, some gore. And then there's a random kill, that Dippy character. It's a drunk character played by Michael Sullivan, that's the first guy actually Madman kills when he's summoned. He's just walking around drunk. He just downed a whole bottle of Jack Daniels and turns on a light, and he gets his throat slashed, which is a great kill. I mean, there's a lot of memorable kills in here.
I mean, because everyone dies except for the kids. Madman's kids die, but the camp kids.
Yeah, that's one thing I love about this movie too, is they're at a camp for gifted children, and the kids are only in it for like the first 5 minutes and then like the last 10 minutes or so, which is good. Because
I'm like, keep the kids out of this, because kids can't act. Kids are in movies to die, not to act.
Right. But yeah, I mean, aside from like the gore, there's creepy moments that Batman has.
Yeah.
When Richie goes into his house when he gets lost for the whole movie. So yeah, Richie goes into his house. Like, I guess it's like the first 20 minutes of the movie, and he sees, he's up in the house, and Madman is running into the woods, just grunting. And he's like running, like skipping or
skipping. Like he's like sideways, skipping, grunting, running.
That creeps me out. Like if I saw that, like, and then just a random like synth, bing, I'd be losing my mind. And then like when TP's looking for Richie, and he has the flashlight, and the flashlight is, in the woods, and you just briefly catch Madman like holding the rope just there for a second, and he goes back with the flashlight. There's a lot of creepy moments. I mean, as stupid as it is, and like as silly as all these characters are, I think they did focus in on like the horror element as best they could, and I think they did a really good job.
Yeah.
When he starts like burp groaning and shit, it's like, well, that just throws out all the creep factor. Especially that scene when Stacy, That's another great kill. Stacy gets her head taken off by the truck. So she's going to go check out the end of the trail. She gets into like the camp truck and she can't start it. So she goes up and she lifts up the hood. She fixes it, gets back in the truck. And then it's just this long kind of drawn out scene where Madman's hand is going for the door handle and he grabs onto it and she drives off and he's just like whine grunting like, oh. And I'm like, God, this just doesn't, you're taking away all creep factor. But yeah, later she gets her head totally taken off.
Yeah.
As much as I love it, I can't deny that there's those slow pacing issues and just dull scenes. To me, it loses. I think the first hour of this movie, and I'm being completely honest here, is just like perfect pacing. I'm completely entertained nonstop for the first hour.
Yeah.
But it's those last 25 minutes where scenes are just drawn out way too long and everything just completely drags. Like when Ellie gets out of the refrigerator. I looked at the runtime. It's literally 3 minutes of her getting out of the refrigerator
and like walking around
and like limp walking around to her death scene. But it's 3 minutes of that. And then when Betsy goes into the madman's house at the end, it's 3 minutes of her looking around.
Yeah. I do like it. Like when she's wandering around and he's sort of lurking behind her in the shadows. And there's like, when he finally does pop up though, and she's trying to load the gun and you think right then is going to be like, she's going to get him. And then he knocks the gun out of her hand and all hell breaks loose. But yeah, there's definitely some slow points in it, but I think like a lot of horror movies do that at some point. Like there's never anything there's a few movies out there that are perfectly paced. Don't quiz me on that right now, but I know that there are.
Right. But yeah, for most, like you see it, especially in Italian horror, there's a lot of looking around and walking through hallways and stuff. But I don't know. To me, it's just like, God, you did so well the first hour. Like, why the third act? Like when everything's kind of, I think it's to build tension, but yeah, usually like movies like this, I feel like the pacing stumbles like in the middle. So it's always, it's weird when I watch Madman and I realize, okay, the movie's ending. This is when it gets boring. That's usually that's how I feel about it. Of course, I still recommend this movie to everybody.
Of course. Yeah. I think what I'll also like, and just kind of going back to like, Betsy's scene with Madman, is that even though it does follow Madman as a whole, does follow so many of the tropes in horror movies and slasher movies, in camping, or campground or lake horror, whatever we want to call it, not having a final girl. Like, and I know we've already argued about what defines a final girl at the beginning of this, but she doesn't live like that. And I like that about this movie. I love a downbeat ending. And I was like, oh, she didn't survive. I'm like, I guess like the upbeat part of it is like the kids got away, but it's like, I already forgot about them because they've been in the movie so little, but you're rooting for, you think she's going to be the one to like kill him and get away and like get picked up by the bus later or whatever. But I do like the fact that none of them get out alive. And it doesn't follow that one girl survived and the ambulance shows up and takes her away. And then there's that last jump scare or anything like that. I do like that about this movie.
Well, I mean, Richie, the asshole kid, he's the only one that survives.
Yeah.
And Max, who's like, he goes into town to go play poker and then he comes back and sees Richie and Richie, that's when he's in complete state of shock because he's seen all his friends dead because Madman Mars, when he kills people, he drags them back to his house.
Yeah, he saw all of it, and it's all his fault because he's the one who called him. And so I like that about it too. It's like the one person who should die doesn't. Yeah, and he's more about the downbeat ending.
Right, and now he's got to suffer with like his fucking actions for the rest of his horrible life because he's just a punk ass boy.
Punk ass madman call summoning little dick.
Yeah, and at the end he's like, he's real. He's really out there. And then Max is probably like, I told you, Richie.
And then cue those awesome like graphic end credits.
Yes.
Love them.
Do you have anything else?
I think the only other scene that merits discussion is the hot tub scene. Which is
Oh, yeah.
just the silliest. I mean, you get in and that's another example of them drawing out the scene because they both get in naked. It's Betsy and
TP.
TP.
You
and
get a
like
nice ass shot of TP.
You do. Almost got a dick shot, but or cock shot. Sorry, dick shots when they get shot in the dick. Cock shots when you get to see a dick. Just to clarify, because we'll all always talk about it when they show up. So we almost got a cock shot, but not quite. But yeah, they get in and they're both just like spinning around in the tub.
Well, I think there is a reason for the length of that scene, and that's to play the whole
song.
original
Yeah, you got to have the whole song.
And they do. They play the whole song. It even fades out. That's exactly how it is on the record. And it's TP singing. But yeah, that during that whole time, it's like at least 2 minutes and 45 seconds of song. But yeah, they get in. I mean, the scene's longer than that because they undress very slowly and they're just like, I don't know, they're sizing each other up. Like, okay, am I gonna?
It's like, I make the first move, you make the first move. I'm like, you guys have already fucked. Like, just you're in a hot tub.
And then when it happens, I think the song's over when they start doing it, and that's when Madman kind of peeks in and sees them. Yeah. But yeah, that scene is. I mean, there's a lot of scenes like that in this movie. I mean, the hot tub scene's really infamous, but the scene of all of the, I guess it's the counselors in the cabin where they're all kind of stoned. And they're all laying like head to head and talking about, watching the wood burn. And what was one of the quotes? Who says there's no beauty in destruction? Shit like that. I'm like, that also reminded me kind of something straight from like, Twin Peaks. I just love the dialogue that was written and how stupid it is. But it's kind of real too at the same time. I don't know.
I mean, yeah, you don't say insightful things when you're stoned.
Well, yeah, that's what it sounds like. Like you're super stoned. You're thinking deeply. Like, who says there's no beauty in destruction? Like, what'd you say? Whatever. Don't act like you're not impressed. I don't know. Yeah, it's just hilarious. Those characters get me every time. Like as soon as I press play, the music starting, I just start smiling.
Yeah.
And then like the last 25 minutes hit and I'm like, okay, here we go. Although I love the ending. I do love because that's when you get the song sung by TP.
That's true.
Like the studio version.
Yeah.
So Erica, you recommend Madman?
Yeah, of course. Like, I mean, I am not in love with it, but it's every horror movie fan should see it. Like it checks all the boxes. It's fun. I think I probably gave it 3 stars with a heart. It's, after talking about maybe 3.5, like I've seen it a few times. I like it every time I watch it. It's a good, like, everyone talks about like October watches or like December watches. And I know a lot of people do like Noir November. And it's like, well, no, Madman's perfect November watching. Like add this to your week before Thanksgiving list. Like we have very specific recommendations. This is a week before Thanksgiving watch.
Yeah. Yeah, no, and I think I'm a little biased too in my love for this movie because it was the first time I watched it was presented like so perfectly on the big screen, packed theater. I think this movie's perfect to watch with friends and, as many people as you can get around you because it's so fucking stupid. But I love the original songs, the Madman theme. It just all works for me. And like I said, it does drag here and there, particularly the ending, but I still love it. One thing that I was thinking too when I was watching this, because I had your No Rules November pick in mind, the Who Can Kill a Child, which is day horror. It's just daylight horror.
Yeah, yeah.
This is all night shoots. Like everything happens at night at Madman.
Everything, yeah.
Complete opposite in tone as well.
Yeah.
And acting. I mean, everything you can think of. But yeah, totally recommend it. Madman's on Tubi. And then the Vinegar Syndrome, I think, is totally worth picking up, the Blu-ray.
Yeah.
What about a double feature pick with Madman?
Yeah. So my double is in Into the Woods, because I figure like what better thing to do than watch a double feature of people going in the woods and getting killed. So Same. I went with The Final Terror, 1983.
Oh, yeah. Andrew Davis, right?
Yeah. So this is about, they're camping, but they're technically forestry workers. So they kind of create this situation where they're going out to do some work, but they're going to piggyback some camping and river rafting on top of that. But soon they're being hunted by this mad woman in the woods who's got a connection to a mental institution that is inexplicably at the edge of the woods itself. I enjoy this one. I think it's like Madman, it's a fun, but it's not like Madman where it like follows all the tropes. Like it's very
Right.
different, like tonally and story wise and everything like that. But I think it's a really good like in the woods horror movie. Plus, it's got Joey Pants in it, so I mean, you
It
can't.
has a
beat
young
that.
Daryl Hannah in it?
Yeah, young Daryl Hannah is in it. As
I remember
one
the
of the
cast because
girls.
I've seen a couple of years ago, and the cast, like in Mad Men, I mean, they're all super close, and they act really well together.
Yeah.
It seems. Yeah.
So yeah, Final Terror, 1983. Where did I watch this? I think this was on Tubi as well. Yeah. What about you?
So I'm sticking with the no rules theme and getting a little weird here.
Okay.
For a Stay Out of the Woods double feature, Waiting for Everybody to Die, I'm going with Predator, 1987.
Okay.
It's John McTiernan. So, we have Madman who grunts and moans. Predator snaps and pops. They just make weird noises.
That's literally, did I bring my phone in here? I didn't bring my phone in here. That's my text tone is the Predator snap snarl.
Really?
Yeah. So whenever you text me, it does that. It's that noise.
So now I got to get the Madman grunt on mine. Erica. But yeah, both the monsters in these, in Madman and in Predator, they both have these big oversized clawed hands and feet. So whenever you see Madman's feet and his long nails and obviously like really smushy gloves that are like all bending, horribly done, they reminded me of the Predator hands. They both love jumping into trees and onto logs. They love killing everybody they can find who have entered their forest. They both drag their bodies off.
That's true.
And kind of display them as trophies. So, yeah, I'm going with this 2 peas in a human murdering pod double feature of Madman. I would start with Madman and then end with the big explosion in Predator.
I love Predator.
I
love that movie so much. Like my dad is a huge, huge Arnold Schwarzenegger fan, and so I saw all of his movies like way before I should have. Like
Predator's probably my favorite Schwarzenegger. I mean, I love the
Yeah.
Terminators, the first 2. I mean, I love Commando. I mean, there's so many movies he's in, but
Yeah,
Predator is my favorite.
I love it. Great pick.
All right, speaking of pick, so long, No Rules November.
Bye.
It's been fun, a lot of fun. But Erica, what's your next pick?
All right, so I think I told you this before. I originally was going to do Frostbiter, Wrath of the Wendigo.
Yeah.
Because I was like, oh, December, that's from, snowy movie. I'm not going to do a Christmas movie this year because there's a few that I had in mind, but I don't know why. I'm not in the Christmas spirit this year yet.
Yeah.
It's too early for me to pick it. My episode's December 1st. So I'm like, too early for Christmas. But I think that Annie and I gushed enough about it in the Bleeding Skull episode that everyone already understands that they should watch it. So I was like, I don't, as much as I would love to make you watch it, I don't feel like I need to make you watch it. Like I can just be like, here,
I'll watch it for sure. Like I'm planning on that regardless.
Right. So I don't want to say like, I didn't want to waste a pick on Frostbiter because I'm not saying it doesn't deserve its own episode, but I feel like we gushed enough about it that I don't need to dedicate an episode to it. So I went in a completely opposite direction of snow. Instead, we're going to be doing a desert horror movie.
Oh.
Next pick is going to be Mirage, 1990.
Okay, I've never seen that.
Okay, so this is about a killer in a black pickup truck that's hunting 3 couples who came to the desert for a camping trip. And when I say desert, don't think like Hills Have Eyes with like mountains and stuff. This is like Death Valley where it's just fucking straight and flat and nothing around. And I want to say, and I want to just, let folks know, like, I'm not picking this one because I love this movie and I think it's fantastic. I'm picking it because it's a good movie, but it's unique because of its setting. And it also has sort of this cool element like Duel, where you've got this black truck and you don't know who's driving it and is like stalking all of these people and killing them off. And it's got really good gore in it. It's got stupid characters. Yay. So yeah, some similar. So we're doing 2 slashers back to back. And normally I'd want to kind of mix it up a little bit more, but I wanted to get to this one. This one feels like, I think once you watch it, you'll be like, this definitely feels like a future Vinegar Syndrome release. Like this is something they would find, and if they could get the rights, would definitely put it out. It's one of those kinds of movies. So getting ahead of the Vincent game.
Hell yeah.
So Mirage is available to watch on YouTube. It currently has 198 views on Letterboxd. And Mirage, 1990. I'm making a 90s horror for you, Lance.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of which, I have a gift for you. I almost forgot.
What?
So I complained in our last episode, Horror Gives Back, about the Scarecrow category.
Yeah.
And I said, I was like, there's no Scarecrow horror movies out there that I want to watch. I found one. I didn't watch it because it's J-horror, and I don't really like J-horror.
Okay.
And I don't know how you feel about J-horror, but I found you a J-horror Scarecrow movie called Kakashi. There you go.
Where'd you find this?
Half Price Books.
Okay, so you know it's a Scarecrow movie just from the cover.
Yeah,
right?
well, Kakashi means scarecrow.
Oh, okay.
Like if you read the back. Well, I didn't know that either. I'm not being like push up glasses like Kakashi actually means scarecrow. Yeah, there's the English.
I thought it was all in Japanese.
No. Sorry, yeah, the front cover is all in Japanese, but yeah, there's the English synopsis on the back.
Hell yeah! A mysterious letter. The only clue left for. I'm not gonna try it. Okay, this is exciting. Thank you.
You're welcome. Happy Scarecrow movie.
All right, so my next December pick is going to be Kakashi.
No, vetoed.
You haven't seen it yet.
I know. I don't.
It could blow your mind.
Oh my God.
That's exciting.
All right, if it's really good, then maybe. But you watch and you decide, will Erica tolerate this? Because knowing I don't really like Scarecrow movies and I don't really like J-horror.
I have to thank you again for allowing and not vetoing that category.
Well, we'll see what happens next. Horror Gives Back when you come with your category picks next time.
Kakashi has 258 views on Letterboxd.
Just watch it first.
I am. No, I'm just. Yeah, I'm excited.
Okay. All right. Well, yeah. Happy.
I like scarecrows.
I know you do. Merry early Christmas.
Thank you.
If you're not already, you can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and Slasher, all at Unsung Horrors. You can follow me on Letterboxd, Instagram, and Twitter at Hex Massacre.
You can follow me on Twitter, Letterboxd, and Instagram at El Shaibi. And also, the holidays are coming up. Figuring out gifts suck. Shopping sucks.
Yes.
So you may want to check out lantshaibi.bigcartel.com. Might find a few things there for yourself or for friends or enemies. But if you do find anything, be sure to enter the discount code Unsung Horrors, all one word, all caps, to receive 25% off everything.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for listening during No Rules November.
No Rules November.
Thanks. And we'll see you next episode for Mirage. Night, y'all.
Bye, everybody.
Lore of the campfire, telling of his horror, lost in the woods with the madman and the stars. Don't laugh at the tales, heed if you call him the legend lives. Beware the madman Mars. The legend lives. Beware the madman Mars.
Hey, it's Death by Video.
I'm Phil.
I'm Kit.
And I'm Graham saying welcome to our podcast full of merry movie mayhem.
Ever wonder what an Irish kung fu movie would look like?
It's called Fatal Deviation, and we covered it.
Ever wonder what a movie about 1,000 cats would look like?
It's called Night of 1,000 Cats, and we covered it.
And it stars Hugo Stiglitz. Listen to Death by Video to hear us discuss and dissect some of the weirdest, wildest, and wackiest films ever made. All this and more on Death by Video! Woo!